evening. My name is Russell Ackaway, and you're watching Respect. Respect is a live TV talk show with young people, and for each show we have a different topic. Tonight's topic is on young people and young adults dealing with their sexual orientation and the fears and prejudices of others in relation to that, or hopefully acceptance. So we have, I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I've been in mental health, worked in mental health with young people and children for 25 years. And many of my patients have had various sexual orientations, and I've worked with them, so I have a lot of experience with this. And I chose this topic specifically for one major reason, and that major reason should be really common to all of us. Adolescence is an age of exploration and the search for one's identity. And it's a very difficult task. And if you're a heterosexual, it's a difficult task. If you're a homosexual, it's even more complicated. The homosexual individual has to deal, who perhaps hasn't come out yet, and in many cases hasn't, not ready, not emotionally ready. There are a lot of fears, there's secrecy, so how do you define your identity when you're really not sure of your sexual orientation? For example, there's so much emphasis during adolescence on sex, and if you're not dating a girl or having sex or screwing around, people wonder. For the male, they wonder. For the female, they wonder. What's going on? So it's extremely complicated issue. There's a lot of confusion. And so tonight, and for this reason, it's extremely important. And also, there's one other factor. For a lot of young people, there aren't any gay role models that they know of, people to look up to, who have been their mentors. Many of the role models for gay, lesbian, transgender are older, and the young people really don't have access to that, to who they are, an association with them, only perhaps later in life. Whereas heterosexual teenagers do have role models. You know, it could be a fellow student, it could be an actor, it could be a rap star, it could be a basketball player. That is absent from in their life as well. So those two are very important factors. So what I'd like to do now is introduce my co-host in the panel. My co-host, for the first time, I have a co-host. Her name is Keisha Daniels. And we have three panelists. We have Serena Bello, and we have Jovi Santropietro, and Jeremiah Jerkowitz. Okay. So what I'd like to start out doing is asking you, all of you, to respond perhaps to the same question, and you can also interact with one another. When did you become aware that you had of your orientation, and was it Early childhood, late childhood, early adolescence? Anyone can volunteer to start.
Well, I'll start.
Okay.
I knew at a very young age that I was, gay. Because I always felt out of place in most, playgrounds, schools, even at home. Because, I grew up with a very Catholic family in which it was supposed to be get married, have kids, which I didn't see in my future. I came out at a very young age, at 13, knew when I was 11. And for me, that's when all my troubles began.
How did you know at 11? What was
I
it?
mean, I looked at it as my sexual attention toward people. It was never really toward women. It was mainly toward men. And I didn't really fully understand it at first, nor accepted it. But I grew to love it and embrace it and made it my own.
Okay.
Oh, am I interrupting? No? Okay. I'm not really sure when I first noticed, but I was first able to verbalize it when I was about 13 years old. I was in 8th grade. I had just transferred schools, and my fellow classmate, who happened to be a very close friend of mine at the time, she was like, I am attracted to women, I'm bisexual. And then all of a sudden, it just clicked. And I knew there was a word for what I was feeling. And that was the first time I remember acknowledging it.
Mm-hmm. And how did you feel at the time? Did it?
I didn't really feel any negativity. Even throughout high school, throughout junior high school, I didn't really feel much negativity. The negativity, believe it or not, started circulating around my college years.
Huh. But did you come out during high school?
No, actually, only recently, maybe in the last 6 months, my entire family knows.
Okay.
So.
Was there any confusion? When you said it clicked? You said, did you?
It was. I'm calling back on a very fuzzy time in my life, but I just remember vividly that she said, "I'm bisexual." I was like, you know what? I am too. I have this attraction for women. I had a best friend growing up throughout the years as well who I had a lot of attraction for, and it just kind of fell into place.
Okay, that's clear. Jeremiah?
Well, I guess I started noticing that I was different in middle school, but at first I really hated myself for it. I thought maybe it was because I was overweight and I couldn't get a girlfriend that I was feeling these feelings. But I came to accept it at the beginning of my sophomore year of high school, and by the end I had come out to most of my friends and my family at home. And it was a hard process, I will say that. But when a friend asked me, because a rumor was going around, I just knew it was the time, and I just said, "It's not a rumor. I'm gay." So, and a lot of my friends, most of my friends have supported me, and my family have too. So.
Your non-gay friends?
Yeah, I went to a Catholic all-boys school, so I think while I was there, I was the only open gay male, and I knew there were other people, but I wasn't there to push them out of the closet at all. But many people said that they respected me for the bravery I had coming out in an all-male school, and nobody, I didn't experience extreme hatred, but there was the annoyances of people making jokes and bothering me, but they always knew that I would stand up for myself, that I wasn't gonna take it.
Okay. Were you active sexually during high school or later?
No, not until later. I didn't first have sex until I was 18. So.
Okay, and yourself?
I was sexually active during high school, both males and females.
Okay.
I was actually sexually active way before high school. I started at intermediate school.
Huh.
Yeah, because I grew up with my family not being financially stable, so I decided to do things that would earn me money in a fast and quick pace. So that's what I was doing at that time and in that age.
Prostitution, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How long did that go on?
That went on for about maybe 2 years, 2.5 years. And though I was making a lot of money, it both mentally and physically harmful to me. I was actually sexually molested by 2 guys. And that was like my point in time where I was like, you know what, I can't do this no more.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I decided to stop, though I'm still very sexually active.
Okay. Okay. Tell me about your families. And your family apparently is accepting, very accepting of...
Yes, they are.
How come? I mean, my families aren't... your family's Catholic, right?
Yeah, they're Catholic, but I think, especially because my dad's white, my mom is Hispanic, so they've obviously experienced prejudices because of that. So I think they become more open about various things. And my mom even told me about an experience she had when I was a baby. A babysitter wouldn't accept me because I was mixed. So I think that made them very more open and liberal and loving, I guess, to everything. So, and when I did come out, they told me of a few friends that were gay of theirs, and that they were fine with it, and that if I needed anybody, that they were there for me.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any brothers or sisters?
I have a little sister. She's 13.
Little sister. She knows about it.
So far as I know.
Okay. Okay. Jovi?
I remember initially telling my mother when I was 13 or 14 years old, maybe it was 9th grade.
That took a lot of courage?
I have to be honest. I was a little instigator at the time, and I just kind of wanted to see or initiate a reaction. But I remember she cried. I told her I was bisexual, so she immediately assumed, you know, I was a lesbian. She's like, I want babies. Very upset. It was dropped. I brought it up again when I had a girlfriend. I was wearing my girlfriend's bracelet at the time. And again, it's just a phase. As I got a little bit older, I was dropped for a long time. Started coming back into conversation around the time of college. And I remember her saying once, I wish you would pick a side. And for about 3 months, I did. I did pick a side. I decided to identify as a lesbian. And when I did that, at first it seemed like my mom was okay with it. Then I noticed that life around the house changed a little bit. And
are you an only child?
I am an only child. And
that makes a difference.
I'm sure it does, definitely. I'm sure it does. I am her only daughter. I know she loves me. I'm her one and only. And so yeah. Then I realized that identifying as a lesbian wasn't really being true to myself. I was accepting one half of my orientation, but not the other. And for the last maybe 2 months or so, I've tried to accept the orientation as bisexual. And I think she's a little happier, but I don't know if that's something she should be happier about.
What do you think is bothering her about it? What's behind it? Is it just she wants you to get married and have babies?
Yeah, I think that's behind every parent's, dreams, that they have that ideal for their children. The white picket fence, the dog, if you're a woman, the tall, dark and handsome husband. And, it's what society is accustomed to,
And I was just gonna, and I think as when we're younger, we don't see it, but our parents are very fearful for us. They don't want us to experience all the hatred that they know that and we have experienced. And it might come out as hateful from them, but it's really their way of loving us and not wanting us to get hurt, which I do see that now, or I see that as other parents have done that.
It's protective.
Protective, but I guess they need to parents need to realize that that's going to happen in some way, and that helps us grow. So, and I think that's why gay people are such strong people, that they have to experience so much hatred in their lives, but it helps them grow to be a stronger person.
Adversity does help you grow. It builds character, tremendous amount of character. I don't know if you can answer this, but I treated I was in private practice, and I worked with a few bisexual women, and eventually, near the end of therapy, one of the female patient I worked with chose to be married and have children, and I still have contact with her. She sends me pictures of her 2 children every year. We have lunch when she comes into New York with her husband. Bisexuality is bisexuality. I mean, it's part of you. But at some point, you may continue to be bisexual. You may, move in the direction of a constant male figure, or you may decide to have relationships with women, So are you aware of that it could? I
am aware of that. Regardless of the gender that I end up with, I don't think that really changes who I am inside, my sexuality, where my attraction lies. Monogamy is monogamy either way that you look at it,
True. Very true.
My family that was such a confusing time being out the closet. Like, my mother came out to me when I came out to her at 13. Yeah. When I told her that, I was like,
she came out as what?
As a lesbian.
As a lesbian.
And, I kind of felt comfortable, but yet I felt that it was a bit shocking as well. Because it was like, she switched the tables. It was not so much as the parent trying to accept me, it's the child trying to accept the parent. So we learned to respect one another's decision, and but my real father, he passed away when I was really young, but I don't know what he would have thought of. But my grandparents on my father's side were really not accepting. They were all from the countries they were born in. One was from Cuba, one's from Italy, and they're like strictly like no gay, and they only had one son, which was my father, and my father only had one son, which was me. So the ability to carry on my last name was their main worry. So I mean, that was even one struggle, and then now me coming out as transgender and being Serena was way over the line for them. They never called me for about 3 years.
Yeah, I remember that you had very little support. Your mother moved away. She's gone.
Yeah. I live with my stepfather on Staten Island, and I am basically alone. I don't have no family in Staten Island anymore. And, I'm being forced to, not so much as being an adult, because I am 20 and I should be, on that urge. But I've always been pushed to be beyond the years that I am. Like, I may be 20, but my mentality may be older than 20.
Mm-hmm. You're an older 20, yeah.
Yeah, because of society, and then learning to deal and accept
20 going
my
on 30, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's a big struggle when you can't be your own age. Like, I try to mingle with kids my age, and sometimes I sort of feel out of place with them.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Hi. I just wanted to ask how old she is.
How old am I?
What was your question? Okay, we got cut off. Keisha, do you have a question?
I do, actually. I've heard that some people, they say for a they get angry with bisexual people because they say that there's no way you can be both. It's either one or the other, and I don't really think it's true, but what do you think?
I've encountered people who brought that to my attention. I feel like at this point in society, we should be able to be a little bit more open-minded. You know, nothing is just so black and white in life, and sexuality is fluid. And it can change over a lifetime. I really don't think it should be so black and white.
I think you mentioned to me that lesbians don't consider bisexuals
I don't think they
real lesbians.
Right, well, because, I mean...
Yes.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I've been watching the show. I think it's a great topic.
Thank you.
My name is Bobby.
Hi, Bobby.
I really appreciate y'all doing this segment right here, and I just want to have a question to ask everyone in. I've been listening, and everyone's been basically sexually active, and I just want to know, have everyone on the panel have been tested for HIV or any other sexually transmitted diseases? Being that you have been sexually active from young ages, and the first young lady, the transsexual, she's been prostitute. So I just want to know, going down in order, have everyone been tested for diseases?
Yeah, it's a good question, but we'll answer the question, but is this a reason why you're asking that particular question?
It's no particular reason, it's just that it's a dangerous world out there when you're having, whether you're bisexual, transsexual, or just homosexual, whatever it is. It's just that, you know, it's a dangerous world now, especially in these times and these days. So you don't have to answer it.
No. Go ahead. We'll answer it. Sure.
I just wanted to know because I'm sure it's a lot of people, especially young people. Everyone up there is young. And I'm just basically asking because I believe that everyone should get tested out there. I just recently got tested. My test came up negative. And I just always encourage young people and just people in general who's having sex and undecided about their sexuality to go get tested. So I think it's great for them to just ask that question.
Sure.
Well, I get tested regularly. I get tested every 3 months, and I actually volunteer at our Community Health Action on Staten Island, where I teach kids about having safe sex and, you know, being able to explore your inner thoughts without, putting yourself at a deep risk. And for me, even though I was prostituting, I did get tested regularly. And I do all these things for a reason, because my real father passed away from AIDS. And
so that means basically you came up negative.
Yes, I'm negative.
All right. Next.
Joby.
Hi. I'm tested usually between every 6 months to a year. When I do have sexual partners, always protected, whether it's male or female, and I make it a priority, to do that. It's very important.
That's for any kind of sex?
Yeah, of course.
Oral,
penetration. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to ask you a question, too. The second person just answered that. It's young females out there, and there's a lot of bisexual, basically a lot of lesbians out there. Can you tell the people that's watching how are you supposed to protect yourself when it's girl on girl? Because we know about condoms. How do you protect yourself when you just give it oral sex? Because that's basically what kind of sexuality. How do you protect yourself from that?
Well,
Get some disease.
On the market, there is sort of like a latex square. It's called a dental dam. And what you do is you hold it out, you can stretch it out, and you would have that as a barrier between the woman and your mouth.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
I actually just got tested for the first time a few months ago, since I just became sexually active. And I came up all negative, and I plan to stay regular with my with checking these, with checkups, I guess. And yeah, I've come up negative, and I think it's important once you become sexually active to maintain that balance.
Thank you. I really want to thank y'all so much for answering those questions. I know they're tough questions, and I want to commend all of y'all for just taking the panel and just not being afraid of your sexuality. And thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You were talking about something.
So far from my head right now.
Okay. I'm going to talk about clinical practice for a minute there. You know, for the longest time, homosexuality was viewed as, we have a call? We have a call? Hello?
Hello?
Yes?
Yes, I wanted to ask Dorina about how does she feel growing up, being trans, the good and the bad growing up. I just think that that's wonderful, being a trans advocate for youth in area.
Is there a reason you're asking that? Well, she'll answer it.
What happened?
Is there a reason you're asking that question?
No, I personally have a lot of friends that are trans that are coming to find themselves, and I just want to talk from another trans.
Okay.
Well, growing up as a trans was, you know, like you said, both, you know, good and bad. You know, the good thing was is that I felt more me. You know, I didn't feel I was portraying to be someone else, you know, lying to people, you know. But definitely a lot of cons come out of being transgender. Why? Because you're not the norm. You know, like, you're born one, like, society is slowly starting to get used to homosexuality, very slowly. But the fact of being transgender, when you're born one gender and you're portraying yourself to be another, it becomes very difficult for society to accept. I get made fun of, like, every day. You know, like, people call me names, people have beaten me up. But in the end, as long as I stood true to myself, I've never felt more happier about me being a transgender in my whole life.
That's great.
That's beautiful.
Do you have a question?
You're
Do you have a
welcome.
question?
It's just a thought. Do you know where the coming out of the closet phrase came from?
Most people like just looked at it as like basically like a metaphor, as far as it like you were hiding yourself from the world. You know, like you were in a closet, you're in a closed, confined space where no one knows you, the true you. And that phrase, coming out the closet, is when you're expressing your true self, the person deep inside you, and now everyone knows. So that's why people use the term like coming out the closet.
Oh,
Okay, we have a caller. Yes? You have, hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi there.
You have a question or?
Oh, actually, I had a message for Serena.
Okay.
I wanted to let her know that she has family and she needs to call her aunts. We love her. Lisa and Lucille, we're watching you online.
Hi.
Hi.
That's wonderful.
Look at I see you smiling. You're a couple of minutes behind. So you need to give us a call. You get the number from your mom or grandma. Grandma's watching too. Grandma's very happy. But you need to call us. You definitely have family, definitely support. Justine would love to hang out. We're teaching her all about Stonewall, and she's going to go on a field trip to see the village and all the history. So you have to call us.
That is so sweet. That is so sweet. I'm going to cry.
So I see you crying already.
That's natural.
Huh.
So call us.
She will.
Okay. All right, we love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye. See how people connect sometimes?
Yes, so sweet. Oh my God. Try not to smear my eyeliner. What was I going to say?
For the longest time, homosexuality was considered a disease by the American Psychiatric Association, and it was in the American Psychiatric DSM-4, which is a diagnostic manual where you have labels for everybody, every condition possible. They dropped homosexuality from it, but there are still a lot of professionals who are trying to change. If you come in to see a practitioner, there are so many biases that they think that the focus of their work should be on making you heterosexual, rather than you have a patient coming in who's questioning their sexual orientation, and perhaps they're homophobic, or and also they have a lot of self-hatred. Your role as a practitioner is to explore and work on these issues, overcome their fears, help them to understand their fears, and reduce their self-hatred, rather than trying to make them into a heterosexual. But it's very common, I can tell you that from a practice standpoint. Okay, the whole issue, it boils down to, is homosexuality genetic? Is it environmental? Is it, can you change? If you can't change, then we're talking about something that's constitutional.
Well, I think you are born a certain way. You come to realize that. And as Jovan says, you fluctuate throughout life. You might find yourself, especially bisexuals, might find yourself attracted to males more at one point in your life, or females. I think it's you just coming to accept it. And people who say you made a choice to be gay, you didn't make that choice. You made the choice to accept it. Because there are people who lie to themselves their entire lives and get married and have children. And I know people that have come out of the closet when they're 50. And I think that society needs to change so those people can feel comfortable enough at the time in their life when it's most important to come out and be yourself, rather than lying to yourself so long.
I believe no matter what, that everything is a little bit environmental as well as biological, but I think it is in the genes. It has to be. Growing up, I never knew that I had 2 lesbian aunts. I didn't realize that they were gay until probably about 14 years old. And I also have a cousin who is bisexual. So there's a lot of homosexuality in my family, so it has to be somewhat genetic.
In my family, I have a cousin who used to be lesbian, but she started going to this church, and she started saying that she was saved by Jesus. And thankfully for me, I was out of the country when she had a wedding, and she is now married to a man, which it does hurt me.
Hello?
Oh.
Excuse me.
Hello?
We'll come back.
Okay.
Yes.
I have a question. We've heard from all the people on the right hand, but who's the other young lady? Is she gay?
No, I'm not gay.
Oh, okay. So you're there in support of the people. What is your opinion?
Well, my opinion, I am okay with homosexuality, but for me personally, I honestly I never really felt I was gay, but I always felt that I was okay with saying that, wow, she's pretty, and that would be it. I never would go any further with that. So I never really considered myself to be bi-curious or bisexual. I would just say, wow, she's pretty, that's it. I don't see how that's any different from someone saying, wow, that woman looks beautiful and gorgeous in that dress. I don't really see how it's different from that. I just think if she's pretty, then she's pretty, and that's it.
So you've never experimented or anything like that?
No.
No. But you respect the other kids for going for theirs?
Oh, of course, yes.
All right, I was just curious. I kept on seeing you on the thing. I was just wondering who you were. All right, thank you.
I think there is something to, I could talk about my own personal experience. one experience I had in my life. I worked at a place, a rehabilitation center, where there was a psychiatrist who was married with 3 children and who befriended me, and I befriended him. We'd have these intense lunches together, and we went to the beach together. I was married at the time. I didn't have a sense that he was gay. I liked him. He was very attractive. But what I wasn't aware of was that I was attracted to him as a man. And I remember he came to my house, and I was sleeping in bed. My wife was outside making breakfast, and he jumped in bed with me. And I says, "Whoa!" So I didn't see it. You know, it was there. I felt it, but I didn't see it coming. And I want to add, you know, he was so attractive. And there are men that I find attractive at times. I want to put my arms around them and hold them. I don't have a problem with that. I think it's easy for me. Not because I'm Middle Eastern, you know, I'm an Arab or a Greek, because, you know, they kiss one another and they hug one another. But I just have good vibrations with some men. And I think it's very healthy and normal, and I feel comfortable with it. So, do you want to talk about where it came from? Is this something environmental, or you just picked it?
I mean, as everyone's opinions are firm, and, you know, I would, you know, firmly believe it. But for me personally, I've looked at it as more of like a feeling you earn on your own, something you become more intuitive to. Like, my aunts are gay. They've been gay for God knows how long, I don't know. But, like, before I can remember, you know, and my cousins on my father's side, a couple of them are gay, and my mom's gay. So, I mean, I could see how it could lead to it being genetic, you know, and I could also see how it could lead to it being environmental. You know, like, if you go to, you know, Brazil, you know, for a couple years, you're going to learn the language like that, you know? You know, if you're around people who are gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, you know, eventually you might pick up on it, you know, or you might start feeling feelings that they do. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. It all depends on you. So I believe it's more of a true feeling that you become more intuitive to as you grow older.
It comes from inside, is what you're saying. You don't know where it came from, but it comes from inside. You guys agree with that?
I just like to make a comment on that. I feel like if it isn't inside, you're not gonna explore it. You're not gonna go there. Mm-hmm. You know, as Keisha was saying, you know, she can say another girl is attractive, but she's not going to go and pursue a relationship or, you know, try to date a woman, you know? So I think if it's not there, it's not there.
Well, that's what I mean by being more intuitive to your feelings. Like, because you can sit there and say, as you said before, I think she's cute, you know? But it could not mean anything, you know? When you become more intuitive to your feelings, you decide then and there, is that, yeah, I only think she's cute, I'm not going to pursue anything. Or you think she's cute and you do, you know? In which that's where I feel that your feelings come into play.
Okay.
I think you have to be confident in your sexuality, because I've had straight male friends that'll hold my hand or give me a hug for a long time, and I know they're straight and they know it. So I think it just comes down to you being confident in your own sexuality and being open to other sexuality. See, I'm gay, but I'm not afraid to hang out with straight people. That's fine with me. So I think it's just being open and being confident in yourself, like Serena was saying.
No, let's say maybe you guys can lend some knowledge to this. I always felt that a homosexual has no interest in, let's say, bisexual is, you have an interest, definite interest in men and women. And gay, like yourself, you have no interest in women, absolutely none, having sex. It's something that you just can't think about. I mean, it's just unheard. Is that how you define?
For me, I'm completely 100% gay as of this point. Unless I discover some new thing. I did study, and I saw Alfred Kinsey, and he came up with the Kinsey scale, which put men on a scale of 1 to 6, 1 being attracted exclusively to females, 6 being exclusively attracted to males. So I think there's even more than just bisexuality. You could be attracted more to one than the other. So I'm fine with that, and that's cool if anybody is that. But for me, I have no attraction whatsoever to females.
And yourself, you're comfortable with both? Or is it more one than the other?
It is more one than the other. For a long time, it's been probably 25% men, 75% women, but that changes. That changes, it does fluctuate. Because it hasn't always been, and I'm not saying it always will be.
Okay, and that depends on the chemistry?
I'm still trying to figure that one out.
Okay. That's a good answer. Yes? Do we have a caller? No? Someone hung up?
I have a question. Do you consider a person to be gay if they're, because I know that there are, okay, let's say some women out there that have terrible luck with getting men and keeping men, and they said, forget it, I'm going to turn into a lesbian. Do you consider that to be a gay person, or is that just something else?
Well, for me, I mean, sometimes a lot of women, you know, don't quote me, but, you know, a lot of women have struggles with relationships, especially like heterosexual relationships, because women are really emotionally attached to their spouses.
Would you like to say anything after you tell me?
And
hold on for a second.
Okay.
We'll get back to you. A caller? You have a question?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. I have a question for the whole pop group. I want to know what they think about people that say they are straight but will have sex with the same sex. Because when I was in high school, I had encountered a school of people who, to this day, were straight, but I know they had sex with the same sex.
What was the question? It was a little
he was asking if people who consider themselves to be straight but have sex with the same sex would we consider them straight or gay? I actually would consider them gay. I mean, you can't call yourself straight if you're sleeping with the same sex and enjoying it at that. And, you know, for me being a transgender, I have a lot of straight guys that try to, like, you know, approach me. And they say that they're straight, but deep down in my head, they're totally gay. They totally are gay.
I mean, I try not to judge those people because I think they'll come to realize it in their own time, whether they are straight or gay. Because, like they say, people do experiment and they decide for themselves, or they find what's most comfortable for them. So, because I myself don't want to be judged, I don't judge those people. Because I'll take whatever they say as their orientation, I'll take that for what they mean it. So if they say they're straight, I'll believe they're straight. Because I don't want somebody to say, oh, he's not gay enough. He's not gay. So that's my opinion.
Mm-hmm. I actually agree 110% with Jeremiah. I wouldn't want to be in the place of judgment. So I'm not going to go and judge someone else's sexuality. That's completely inside a person for themselves to decide. And eventually when they're ready, or when they'll figure out where exactly they lie.
Okay. We have some time. I don't know if I should jump into this question. Okay, we have a caller.
Hello?
Hello?
Hi, I just wanted to give a shout out to Serena. I love you. This is Joanne.
Hi.
You look gorgeous.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all. Bye, love you.
It's been said that. Hello.
Hi, how are you? How are you folks doing today?
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, this is a great topic. You know, I was actually sucking my own cock last night, and I was wondering how.
They dropped the call. Okay. It's been said that homosexual relationships are tentative at best. They don't last very long. I mean, heterosexual relationships don't last long either. But something about they just don't last, and they sustain. There's a lot of narcissism, a lot of selfishness, a lot of self-centeredness, and there is judgment too. There is judgment. You're judging the other. Are they good enough for you? You know. What can you say about that? There's just so many. How many happily together gay people do you know that lived along? That you know.
My aunts have been together for quite some time now.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello? Hi.
Yeah. Hi.
Yes, my name is Carmen. I wanted to make a comment.
Sure.
So I wanted to say that I see you guys were talking about if we can say someone is gay because they stand up with a person of the opposite sex and they say that they are gay or vice versa. And I wanted to say that we are no one to judge them or to say that they are or they're not gay. I think it is up to them to decide that as long as they are honest with the person who they're going to sleep with. You know, and from there on, you know, who are we to say what they are?
I believe that's true.
I was going to say that.
See this? Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay. This is an important issue too for the adolescent, from what I know. Homosexual. Hold off on the calls for a minute because this is really important. As I said, there's a whole issue with identity, you know, for the gay person during adolescence. And they're excluded from a lot of things that the heterosexual individual has. Proms and parties, you know, dances, all kinds of things. You feel left out. Society doesn't really have the social supports for you guys. Also, what happens is society doesn't allow you as teenagers to walk on a campus or walk down the street holding hands, allow you to further your romantic relationship with that individual. And so there's a tendency to have sex and foreclose on the romantic part of it because of that. Romance is for heterosexuals. It's allowed, it's supported, but you have to do that in secret. And it's a terrible thing. So I just wanted to, bring that in. Yes?
I know if I'm seeing a guy, my mother has no problems them, coming to the house, they stay over. If I'm dating a woman, that doesn't happen. That is completely blocked out. I mean, I'm trying slowly, sorry, I'm trying slowly to, drop lines here and there, oh, that woman is attractive, or I wish I could meet more women, trying to open her eyes and open her up a little bit more to the fact that, that is a very significant part of my life and my lifestyle. But as for hiding the romantic side of our relationships, I find that absolutely disgusting. Absolutely not. If I'm dating a woman, I'm going to hold her hand down the street. No, because heterosexual people have that privilege every day. They put the picture of their spouse on their desk.
Very true.
It's something, I'm not going to conform to that, expectation. I don't care if people dislike it or not.
No.
Yes? You want to say something, Jeremiah?
Well, I just...
Can you just hold on that for a second? Yes.
Well, I recently have a new boyfriend, and when we've been out, there are times when we don't feel safe to be ourselves around each other. We'll walk separately, we won't hold hands, and sometimes that does agitate me.
Yeah.
But I know I have to, it's only when he's comfortable, and that is afforded to heterosexuals in any area they want. But in certain areas of certain cities, of anything, it's dangerous. So.
Hi, I wanted to say the show is great, and I want to give a shout out to my cousin Jovan. This is Gina. And I also wanted to ask a question. Do you believe that you can get more of a disease between gay sexual partners or straight sexual partners?
I love you. I think that it doesn't make a difference whether you're sleeping around with someone of the same gender or of the opposite gender. If you're not taking the necessary precautions, you're not protecting yourself, people are sleeping around. They're not just sleeping with you, so you can contract anything from anyone.
Do you have something to say about this, the romance?
Well, as far as romance, I don't ever really had a big romance. Like, for me, being transgender, a lot of gay guys try, to avoid holding my hand, or the straight guys that I date, they avoid wanting to be seen in public. Like, if we're gonna go on a date, we have to go really late at night, or, if we're walking on down the street, I have to walk a few feet in front of him or away from him at some point, which for me, I think is really a form of disrespect.
It is shame. There's a sense of shame that the other person has.
Yeah, and for me to be able to be comfortable with myself, to, be this way every day, and never changing at all, I would always hope for the same respect in return, and I would love to be loved as much as other people, I would long to walk down the street holding, my boyfriend's hands, or I would long to
kiss them in public.
Yeah, being able to say that this person's with me, So it becomes a really emotional draining, but then again, it pulls you through.
Okay, we have a few minutes. What resources are there? There's young people out there watching. What resources are there? Acceptance and support are extremely important. I know there are support groups and things. Could you just talk about what's available for?
Well, Jovan and I have been involved at our college with the Gay Straight Alliance. I recently, this past semester, became the president. And
do you have a website? Do you want to announce it? No?
We don't have. We have a Facebook, CSI GSA.
Okay.
But it's mainly for college students at our college who will want to become involved with the GSA at our campus. So if anybody's looking, the CSI has become greatly more safe and enjoyable to be.
Hi.
Hi. I have a question. Actually, I wanted to tell all three of you guys are doing an excellent job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I am a 45-year-old woman, and when I was growing up, I wish I had the courage enough to do what you guys are doing. You guys are very proud. And Serena, this is your other mother. We love you very, very much, sweetie. You always have a family here, and you always have room, and we love you so much. We're so proud of you guys. You guys stick to your guns, believe in what you believe in your heart, and never let anything else tell you different. Just keep on going. Love you.
I love you too.
Call your mother.
So anything else? That's a support group, or?
Well, I have. I've been volunteering at Community Health Action for about over 7 years now, and it's based on Staten Island, and it's been a very good support group. We're for kids in the whole LGBT community, and I have learned to cope with my sexuality, cope with society, acceptance to my sexuality, and being able to meet people who are either similar or in the same predicament as I am, which gives me a great outlook on life, you know, like knowing that the struggles that I go through, I'm not the only one struggling, that there are others who struggle out there with me, and that, you know, we can pull it through together. And if you guys have any questions, you guys can just go to communityhealthaction.com, and you can see about the locations of all of the locations. They're all over the boroughs, every borough, and yeah, it's a really good support group, and it's a place for kids to feel safe and want to be safe and want to be able to, you know, be able to cope with their sexuality. We even have kids that haven't even come out the closet yet, so this helps them to ease into that process.
And I'm sure there's centers like these across the country, so if anybody's watching in other parts, you could just look online, I guess, for them.
Okay. We're winding it up. Thank you. You are really very strong, courageous people, and just keep the